What's the word, people?
What's happening?
It's your boy Mac.
And your boy Don.
Checking in again with the Mac and Don show.
Weighing in at 175 pounds.
My boy Big D.
The biggest D in town.
Coming in at 5'5" and 120 pounds.
120, you seem a little light. A little light in the ass.
It's been a crazy pandemic.
Oh, okay.
I don't eat like I used to.
Yeah, fair enough.
A lot of stress.
Okay. Eat like a bird.
The bird is a word.
The bird is the word, y'all.
Bird, bird, bird.
Thanks for tuning in with us.
What's the word, people? What we got going?
A lot of sweat right now.
Whole lot of sweat. It's hotter than the devil's crotch in here.
Yeah, like right between
Just in general.
the balls and the taint. It's like the hottest. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's like the spot that gets the most sweaty.
Right. The precipitation is like at its peak.
Right.
You know?
I just step out of the car and it's like, oh, it's a swamp down there.
Like my thighs make that like while I walk. You know what I mean? Because it's like dripping down into my.
Just straight thigh chafe.
Yep.
And I could start a fire with this chafe. Yeah, smoke of the bear in this bitch.
Speaking of smoke,
We finna light up.
I think we can light up. We're gonna review this fine blunt that we're smoking today.
Yeah, what we smoking on, John? John.
All right, y'all. Mackenzie been cheating on me. He got a new podcast with a dude named John. The Madge podcast.
John, Don, Ron.
What's the difference?
They're all just names.
Speaking of names, we're going to be smoking on some fucking Gorilla Smack is what it was called.
Gorilla smack.
Yeah.
That would be hurtful.
I know.
Imagine a gorilla smacking the fuck out of you.
They're actually 4 times as strong as the average male. So.
Yeah, I heard chimps are like some of the most ruthless animals.
Right now, I would say baboons are probably like to me the scariest.
I think they said chimps are like 5-year-olds, but with like the
crazy
strength. The strength of a fucking I don't even know what to compare
grown ass
to.
fucking man.
Yeah, but like more than a grown man, like
on roids.
Right.
A Superman, if you will.
Right. He has the strength of Joe Rogan.
And he's a gorilla himself.
Yeah.
He can blend in.
Yeah, time out. I heard they were slandering Joe Rogan because he's short.
Yeah, did you see that they put he's 5'3"? He's literally 5'3". Is he actually?
Well, remember that video with him and Freddie Gibbs, and I was
they
like,
stood next to each other, or no? I don't think they stood next to each other.
It was just a video, and I was like, yo, why does Joe Rogan look so small?
Because I mean, Freddie Gibbs is a tall motherfucker.
But I thought, yeah.
And Joe Rogan's also.
I think we looked it up. But
we did look it up.
Either way, Joe Rogan will still beat your ass.
Seriously, it does not matter how tall he is. He's got more money and a better family than you do.
Yeah, he has that fuck you money. I heard him say, he was like, what's the point of having fuck you money if you're not gonna say fuck you?
Say fuck you?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was like, that's why I fucking love Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that man's a savage, bro.
That man is a savage. Did you hear about the Call Me Daddy podcast? Call Her Daddy podcast?
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I guess they got so they were on Barstool. It's like one of those slutty podcasts.
Oh.
Where they
is
go
that a
on.
new thing? I don't know.
Well, it's not really a new thing.
Can you explain to me and for the audience what a slutty podcast is?
It's like, you know how me and you get on the pod and we talk about like funny shit or whatever we're interested in.
They talk about slutty shit.
Yeah, they talk about. Yeah, like I've taken this many dicks at one time. And
yeah, like that one girl who took the whole NFL team.
Yeah,
Jumper.
Yeah. Like one of those type of podcasts, right? So there's this one, and it's called Call Her Daddy, right? First of all, I think Schultz dated one of the hosts. I don't know. Schultz has some type of history with one of the lady hosts on there.
Ouch.
But long story short, Call Her Daddy podcast. It's super popular, and it's one of those like lady podcasts where they talk about sex or whatever. And it was on Barstool. It was distributed through Barstool Sports, like their whole podcast like section or whatever. And it was doing like really good. And
as far as like doing really good as far as views and stuff like that, right?
yeah, like it was up there like with Joe Rogan as far as downloads.
Do you think it's all guys? It's got to be all guys, right? Thirst trapping?
I don't know.
Because the podcast world is not a very like...
Right, it's not a very big world in the first place.
Not a very big world, but not a very big world in the feminine world. Where like...
Yeah, like not a lot of girls listen to podcasts.
Exactly. Like that's a big like thing.
Yeah, that's super true. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's guys or if it's girls or whatever, but...
I think it's got to be thirsty ass like dudes.
I mean,
nutting in their pants.
Yeah,
You know
there's
foaming at the teeth. You know,
there's a couple of different ones like that though. Like, I can't remember the name of another one.
Is it the no jumper one? Didn't they get their own deal after the?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the whole point of me talking about this. They just got a $60 million check. They left Barstool, and they got a $60 million check for the next 3 years.
You just pissed me off.
To record only on Spotify. So they got the Joe Rogan deal basically, but for $60 million and not $250.
Right. Yeah. That's chump change compared to what Joe Rogan got. But
You got a lighter?
yeah.
But yeah. That's crazy though. There's a lot of money in like the podcast realm.
I was explaining to Jalen what you were explaining to me as far as Patreon and those subscribers that do $5 a month and how
Right.
like it just is possible to make that income seriously, and it isn't much. Like these podcasters out who are doing the Patreon episodes, they call it a bonus episode, but it's just extra recorded content and it gets paid for. So
Right, it's just an extra hour of talking.
right, and paid.
Literally paid.
Yeah. So you're more likely to do it. There's incentive, so to speak. Damn. My shit's falling apart, y'all.
Just a wee bit. We'll fix it up.
Fair enough. It was stale.
Yeah, for sure. I find Dutches are always stale. I stopped fucking with Dutches.
The last couple ones that I had were good, but they are usually really stale for some reason.
There we go. We're smoking now, baby.
Yeah, there was a hole in it too.
But yeah. I heard Joe Budden podcast.
Losing numbers.
Yeah, definitely losing numbers, but I heard that...
I went on to 2 of their recent episodes and just disliked them for one.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a big fan. I don't know what happened with Rory and Maul. Well, obviously we know what happened. But...
I know exactly what happened. Shout out to...
This is a really a gorilla smack.
Yeah, it's smacking my boy's lungs. Shout out to Rory and Maul, though. Definitely check out their podcast. They have new episodes coming out.
I think they have a nice dynamic together, just those two.
Did you see that latest episode they just put out where he was talking about, he's like, so much for white privilege.
Right.
He's like, how you gonna get fired? Or he's like,
right.
That was so funny.
That's crazy, though, firing someone from a podcast. Like... Imagine this being that's literally like their full-time job, so much so that they had to they literally had to fire the dude.
Well, I was watching Andrew today, right? And he was talking about like this thing where you get $150 million, you're going to change. You know what I mean? I get $150 million, I'm going to change. Like, we could sit here and be like, money won't change us until that money's in our hand, you know?
Right.
And so I feel like potentially, if we were the Joe Budden podcast and we were that hot and you and me were both making money and we're both like maybe not communicating as well as we could be, you know what I mean? We would be resenting each other, like trying to like get one up, like a leg up, like you want your name on the podcast, I want you know what I mean? You want all ownership.
But at the same time, if me and you were recording every single week, twice a week, they dropped 2 episodes a week, bro, and they were each 3 hours long. You know what I'm saying? That's 6 hours of just you chopping it up with the homies.
A week.
Like, if there's some type of resentment, I feel like it would have to
come out in fruition. Like you would know, right?
Right.
That's why it's like, why is he all doing this sneak shit? It's like, you know, like you would, like me and you. I feel like we're always pretty straight up with each other. You know, like if you don't want to do something, you're gonna tell me like, I don't know if I can do that. You know, you're not gonna be like, yeah, and then like suffer through it. But I have thought that like, what happens when we get famous? You know, like it's just a thing that you think about, and I think that like power corrupts, and if we did get like super popular, I hope that we would stay how we are and how we have always been. You know what I mean? Because we have that like relationship of we've been through some shit since middle school, like rode the bus type shit together, fucking like all that. Yeah. Like I was trying to explain to Skylar, like before we were in track, like we were on the bus in middle school, and we were like the homies, and so
like in French class.
Especially in French class, because we transitioned from middle school into French class, and then senior year we had the first 2 hours together for an entire year. Every day for an entire year, we had the first 2 hours together, and we were
good old Beard Boy.
Yeah, I was telling my coworkers about Beard Boy.
That's so funny.
But I would hope that our business would stay like. Yeah. It's just hard to mix friendships and business because like we don't want to like overstep, but also it's like you got to secure your bag, I got to secure my bag.
Right, especially with podcasting because it almost seems so easy.
Like I feel like Akash and Andrew got it good right now. You know, they're not crazy popular. You know.
Right.
And it's I don't think you want to be crazy popular.
Right.
You know?
Like I be telling people like, you know who Andrew Schultz is, and they be like, nah, who's that? And I be like, bro, just look
even
up
Tom Segura.
Schultz Saves America
or Bert Kreischer. No, like I know a lot of people who do not know Bert or Bert and Tom. Their fucking podcast, Two Bears One Cave. I love that.
I'm learning that podcasting is just like comedy, where it's like kind of a niche audience. Yeah. Where you gotta kind of have to be into it to know.
Yeah, and I think personally, the reason I watch podcasts are to learn most of the time. You know, like one of my favorite things about the Joe Rogan podcast is that he brings on a lot of, like we said, he's dynamic. So he brings doctors on, he brings professional hunters on, you know what I mean? And I love watching and listening because you kind of take something away, whether it be like emotional or valuable to you. It's just what you find valuable, you know?
I find myself like almost like itching for content
and new episodes and like stuff to talk about and listen to.
Yeah, just in general, I'm just like, bro, I'm just bored. I'm just like, I want to hear people talk about something.
Like so basically when you chop it up with somebody, right? Since you can't see yourself and since you have to guess on this identity, right? Your id, right? Your identity. It's who you are. But you don't really know who you are unless somebody gives you that affirmation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that kind of does make sense.
Where, like, you feel a certain way about yourself, but nobody can validate that unless they say it. It's like, oh, it must be true.
Right.
Because
you're kind of like
think
getting confirmation from other people, like, about
your identity. That's how you become yourself, is other people reflect who you are because they're like, oh, no, Mac, you're an awesome guy. And then you're like, I thought I was an awesome guy, and this guy thinks I'm an awesome guy.
I must be an awesome guy.
I must be an awesome guy. So it's like a reflection of your identity.
That's crazy.
Because if nobody was around and it was just you, then you would make up all this stuff in your head. But like even the worst stuff might be true. You know what I mean? Like you hate yourself, so that might be true. You know what I mean?
I always think about the Unabomber.
Me too. I think about him. It's crazy because I make jokes about it. Like I just seen this one thing and it was like, you receive gift. And it was just like a picture of his face. Oh my God. It was just nothing. Like,
it's like fucking dark ass memes.
So many layers, you know, like somebody would look at that and be like, why is this funny? And then I saw it and I was like, like
right. I just think about how
Sorry guys, my ride is here. I think I can. Oh no.
Sorry. My boy Don lives in a rough neighborhood.
Yeah. We down. We down in the fields. Down and out.
But why did I bring up the Unabomber? Oh, Because, bro, he was just in his cabin, going crazy, kicking up bombs and shit.
Prior to that, he was a Harvard student.
Yeah, he was a Harvard...
genius. I think it was mathematics or something like that.
He graduated Harvard at, 17.
Right.
He was a genius, bro.
And that's what I think about because during that time, what was going on in the CIA? Project Mockingbird, Project
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
Yeah, they said he was a part of that.
Right, because they tested it on Harvard students, just like they did the Stanford experiment. Where it's like
I knew there was an MK Ultra connection, but I forgot what it was.
Right, exactly. They were dosing these dudes with LSD, making them feel crazy, right? Because they're stuck in their own head.
Right.
And when you're on psychedelics, imagine prior to the internet, taking a psychedelic, you don't know shit about shit.
I always think whenever I do take psychedelics, I always think about being a caveman. Imagine us now. We kind of have years of human evolution to kind of lean on. You know what I'm saying?
Our cell phones mostly. I want to say
right.
Google is the biggest one. The internet.
And I don't know. I just think about what if I took this substance as and I was the beginning. Of,
at the beginning of time.
Yeah. And
already.
And it's how would you even perceive anything? Because half of what you
what do you even think of? You know what I mean? I used to think of Alea.
Yeah, it's just fucking mind blowing because it's you have to make it starts with you almost. That's fucking crazy.
No, I would be so sad if
right.
I had to create come up with new things all the time. You know what I mean?
That's probably
just why it took so long.
You don't have you don't know what it is to be a human. You don't know what being a human is. You don't know.
Everything is just weird. You know what I mean?
Right. You're just forced out of a twat and you're here.
Think about it this way, right? Take it even further and go into the future and think about a version of you in the future, right. 600 people down the line, thinking about us right now, how did they do it? You know what I mean? They're talking about us, I wouldn't want to live in that time because they're we had to come up with, new podcast things or pioneer our own, where do we go from here, and eventually to get there. But they're looking at us right now and are they were the pioneers or whatever. How, what did they even think of? Because they probably took psychedelics and thought, kill, eat, and sleep. Or,
because I feel most of the things that I you experience or you see on psychedelics is like when Joe Rogan says he sees the elves flipping him off or whatever. That's you had to have seen elves before.
Okay, yeah, or images of the Buddha. I think they were saying in the last
in
one.
order to experience this on an astral plane, you have to have experienced it before. You know how they say when you dream of someone's face, you have to have seen it before.
Okay, yeah, everybody's face in a dream is cataloged as somebody you might have seen in your life.
Right. So I'm saying everything you experience, when you're tripping, you've seen or experienced or something like that before. So if you don't have these images of experiences or
memories, I guess.
Right. If you if you have to almost create your surroundings.
Yeah, and
there's nothing
deities,
surrounding you.
Coming up with God.
Then what are you seeing when you're tripping?
Yeah, how most people see God or whatever, they see. Remember when Chance saw all those crazy beings on DMT?
Aliens.
Do you think a caveman would see God?
I don't even think a caveman would even know what God is.
Do you? Well, I think he would.
He would have no any we know what a
but
God
he would
is.
have the question, right? He would have the question in his mind, where did we come from? You don't think the abstract thought would come in one day?
I don't think so. I think
over time we did though. At some point we did. We were where did we come from? Right. And that was the biggest turning point of what happened before and what's gonna happen next. But I think filling in the gaps of our knowledge is where those things lie because there are huge gaps, and I feel religion is a filler, or like, you know what I mean, just easier to survive, you know what I mean, knowing that somebody's watching over you or pulling the strings or putting it in their hands versus your own.
Right. You've got a point. I don't know. I just feel like he wouldn't even have the inkling to think like what is a creator, what is a god, because there's like I don't even know how to.
Are you sure though? Like that's just abstract thought. Like you don't think that would be like a fundamental?
Yeah, but I don't even know how to explain it. But
like
we've like
Socrates
been grown up in conditioned to like think of like things in that way. But
they also had to survive, right?
Right.
So if like forever they had to just like wake up and they were like, I'm hungry, like that's all I can do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I just feel like we're obviously like separate from animals, but like
because of abstract thought, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like we had like my point is like we're not as different from animals at cavemen or at like the beginning of civilization.
Okay, I see.
Whereas now we're like super different from animals.
Okay, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Where animals are like so like it's just animals don't think like what is a god or anything.
They don't have abstract thought.
Right. They're just thinking about survival. I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat.
Exactly.
I'm thirsty. I'm gonna drink. And you know what I'm saying? We had to like work up to getting to a point of abstract thought. And of like building this whole like earth, like everything that's on Earth is like built by humans. You know what I'm saying? Like
man-made.
Right. So how did we go from
surviving,
the beginning of like just surviving, the beginning of like civilization, and like if you're that caveman, you're looking around you and you don't have anything to like influence your trip. You know what I'm saying? Whereas now we can look around and see. We can see a house. We can see
movies, and like
all of that,
like artificial landscapes that are as vast as the eye can see.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy.
We have things that can influence like our perception of the world.
I feel like they would just draw from nature. Like you would have to draw from what you know.
Right?
Because they did do things like art. You know, there were our early signs of statues and carvings and drawings. And so if they had the ability to do that, I almost feel confident they would be able to.
What do you think about like the theory, like with Graham Hancock and all of them? How I'm gonna check the.
Who's Graham Hancock?
He's like this scientist dude, and basically, oh man, we're smoking.
Getting smacked again.
Hell yeah. So he's this dude, like, if you think about history, you think of it like on a linear scale, like kind of what I'm saying, where we went from one part being like caveman,
underdeveloped,
and then we just like it's all linear up to where we are now.
Yeah, like exponential growth.
Right.
So to speak.
So that's how we think of history, right?
Right.
This dude is saying that basically there was a different race of humans, basically, he was saying, that, like, say, built the pyramids, built, like, the first part of the Sphinx. Do you know about, like, Göbekli Tepe?
Not off the top of my head.
It's basically this place in, like, I think it's in Scotland, and it's, like, these, like, statues that are huge. Like, it's hard to believe that they're man-made. They're like fucking huge, I see. And they're like they have like drawings of animals and shit on there that's like not native to that region. Okay, and it's kind of like a mystery, like why the fuck are these here, right. And like how old are they, type shit. So basically, this dude says that like there was a civilization of humans that was like here before us, and they were like super advanced. Okay, you know, they were able to make the pyramids and all that type of shit. Like even if we look back today and like how the fuck did they make the pyramids? Mm-hmm. Like this dude is saying that like it was like a different civilizations of humans that were like a little more advanced than we are. And then there was basically a catastrophic like event that happened that basically killed all of them off. And he basically, like, long story short, he basically says that like it's like if there's apocalypse right now and we're in New York City, we would have, and like there was like 4 or 5 of us, 10 of us, like maybe even just like 10,000 like across the world that survived.
Just stayed.
We would have to rebuild that civilization on top of what we already had there.
Right.
So he gave and he proves it by like looking at the Sphinx, and he says, okay, so the Sphinx has water erosion on it, which suggests there was water in the middle of the desert, right, when it was built. But that had to have been like 30,000 years ago.
I think it's more like 30 million.
I'm just throwing out rough numbers. Like, I don't know the real numbers. Let's just say it's 30,000 years. He's saying, all right, it was 30,000 years ago that there was water there. So, boom, the Sphinx has to be at least 30,000 years old. Well, according to like recorded history, the Sphinx was built at 15,000 years ago.
Right.
So, like, if it was built only 15,000 years ago,
it has water erosion.
Yeah, it has to be at least,
right,
way than that. Like way older at this time.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
I see.
So he was saying it wasn't built when we were saying it was built.
I see. So another word for that is called the Great Filter, is what scientists would call it. I think I brought it up before on the podcast, but it's also a hurdle that every civilization comes to, and we don't necessarily know what this event is, or this hurdle, or this filter, so to speak. But if you think about it in hurdles, you think about the hurdles getting slightly bigger each time, and you think about humans, right? And the first tiny hurdle is going to a biped, right? Like getting legs, and then the next step is developing tools and stuff like that, and then hurdle, and then the hurdles are however far apart, but they get. The theory is that they get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And this is why we don't have any known aliens that have like made contact with us, because the theory is they've all gone through this great filter of. Like, it could be they get so advanced they implode on themselves, or meteors just, like, like, in this universe, nothing can live because meteors just crash into it indefinitely, or the sun just keep exploding, and it could be whatever event, but they call it the Great Filter because, like...
Yeah, I think it's basically kind of getting at the same idea.
Exactly, because... It would make sense because there are unforeseen things going on around us all the time, because there are lots of different theories, one of them being that the universe is infinite, meaning that eventually if atoms and matter cannot be created or destroyed, that means there's a fixed amount of matter in infinity. So basically, after a certain amount of time, it would repeat itself, like pi. You know what I mean? Like eventually, the numbers would repeat, and so that means there's infinite versions of you in every conceivable different version, because it's infinite, and because that means there exists every single version that could exist if the universe is infinitely expanding, because eventually that would happen. Eventually there would be an exact replica of what's going on, but slight variations, but also,
Yeah, so that kind of gets into like multiverse theory, where there's infinite Mac and Dons right now, like in one of like...
And like one of them, we both have dads.
And there's like minuscule like differences, like you said, in one universe we both have dads.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. In one universe,
there's one less mosquito.
Right. In one universe, this mic is pink. Mm-hmm. In one universe, like it's just like little different shit.
Because the known universe has like a certain size.
What?
Yeah, like what we know is only like a certain size, right? Like we can't see off of a certain point. So the theory is it's ever expanding, never ending, infinite, like whatever. And physics says matter cannot be created or destroyed, so there's the same amount of atoms in infinity, which means that there's different versions of us.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What do you...
And it would only take a certain size. Like, it doesn't even have to be infinity, but after a certain amount, it would start to repeat itself. Like, the sequencing.
No, I don't think so. I think there's...
Like pi. Like, pi is also every book you've ever read. If you translate the numbers into letters, eventually there will be a sequence of every book you've ever read. And then eventually down
I just
the
feel
line,
like there's an infinite amount of possibilities.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
Yeah, it's so infinite that it doesn't have to duplicate ever. That's what I'm saying though.
So like it's just like
there's so many possibilities that there's no way it could even duplicate because there's so many.
By duplicating, I just mean repeating itself. So, like, you think of all these numbers like counting up. You know what I mean? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, right? Eventually, after it gets to 9, it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. You know what I mean? Like it has to cycle, so it has to go again in order for like those sequence has to happen again in order to move.
I think I'm a little too high for this conversation.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely strayed off into some high ass shit conversation.
For sure.
We fucked up.
This is what the listeners come for.
I hope so.
They want to hear our crazy talks.
I never know if I'm making sense. Because,
I never know if I'm making sense either, but I also don't care.
Fair enough.
Because I'm making sense to me.
That's fair.
I'm making sense to Don.
That's true. As long as the chemistry's here, that's all that matters.
That's what the pod is about, man.
Yeah, it's like a perfect mix of two solutions. The Mac and the Don solution, and then they like neutralize each other.
Hell yeah.
You know? Together. But 5 feet apart, so it's not gay.
It's like in it's like in the Powerpuff Girls when he was making them. He's like,
all
sugar
the girls.
Spice.
Yeah. And then he did a little bit
nice.
too much of the XX.
Right.
Tentacion juice.
Right.
He's dead.
R.I.P. Man, I feel like R.I.P. DMX.
That's what we feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
That's what I had to say.
And Charlie Murphy.
R.I.P. Charlie Murphy?
Charlie Murphy, R.I.P.
Gotcha, bitch.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Man, what is up with Dave Chappelle, man?
What's the deal with Dave Chappelle? I don't know. You tell me.
I saw him on a couple podcasts as of late. I heard he was making his own podcast.
Okay. Did he say on the Joe Rogan podcast that he was going to make it?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering where it's at. Also, I hear that him and Joe are doing something in Austin.
Like touring together?
Yeah, I hear Joe
Don't
Rogan's
they do that pretty often, though?
I heard Joe Rogan's like buying a comedy club and like making a comedy club and like curating it and shit.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Chappelle's like a part of it.
In Texas?
Yeah, in Austin.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to go to the show.
Yeah. You know what's right around the corner?
What's that?
Nebraska.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited.
Me too. I keep getting hassled about it, but I'm excited.
What do you mean hassled?
Hassled as in plans keep coming up on that day for some reason. Like
Yeah, I gotta email my job and make sure I can get that off.
Oh yeah, I gotta tell my new job.
Yeah.
They're probably not gonna be happy about that because I'm gonna take the 1st through the 6th off.
Oh damn.
But I start on the 7th, so.
That makes sense.
All right. So.
Do-do-do-do.
We got completely sidetracked.
So we've got some questions for Fauci.
I'm saying, bro, like.
First of all,
Apparently, he did something similar with AIDS too. Did you see that?
I did see something about that, but I didn't know it was him. I thought it was just in general.
I saw the video, like old footage of him, like
damn,
openly talking about it. Who was that power duo that like went on Joe Rogan recently? Did you see that?
Yeah, Crystal and Sagar.
Yeah.
You don't know them?
No.
Ah, dang. They used to have this podcast called The Hill.
Okay.
And I found out about them because they were on Flagrant 2, like,
Oh, really?
maybe like a year ago, maybe a little less.
Okay.
But they were on Flagrant 2 before, and they were basically the whole premise with them is the dude is like leans a little bit more right, and the lady leans a little bit more left, but both of them are like, they're both like libertarian types, where they're like, fuck the system.
Non-capitalist, I noticed. Like, she was like...
A little bit.
Yeah, saying that, like, kind of not as much capitalist as, like...
Right.
Like,
like, they're both, but they both, like, are like, fuck the liberal, like, she's like, fuck the liberals, and he's always like, fuck the conservatives, but they're both, like, kind of lean a little bit that way.
Right.
So they kind of call out all the hypocrisies.
Yeah,
with
that's
it.
like...
So they're kind of neutral, but not.
Did you see the Jon Stewart stuff?
Yeah,
that was
cool
too.
Yeah, I did see that. But yeah, I really like their show, and I like kind of just their insight, because it's just like you're talking to like a normal person. You know?
Yeah, and they seem very like
right. Because whenever you talk to someone about politics, they get all like charged up and shit.
Yeah,
and they don't like ever like see the nuance and like. Cause like, you know, I can always kind of see both sides, like where both sides are coming from, type shit.
Like that, I feel like that
and
should
like,
be the like common sense thing.
Right, and then some people they're just like, nah, like fuck that shit. Like,
yeah,
like one shit's labeled like a certain.
I hold on to my belief no matter what, despite.
Right. Whereas like
world.
whereas they'll go into like the nuances of shit, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. Like, I don't really like getting into politics, but I like to like be informed, and they're like super informative.
Okay.
Like, on like a neutral end.
Yeah, of course.
So I kind of like them. They're cool.
Yeah, and then they were going in on Fauci though.
Yeah, they were going like on Fauci. They were going in on Obama.
That's why I brought up Jon Stewart, is because he's like, dude, I was fucking cracking up on Flagrant 2 because Jon Stewart was like, there was a chocolatey goodness accident near the Hershey factory. Who do we think it could be? Talking about like the coronavirus lab. And he was like, he was talking about, he's like, the Wuhan coronavirus, we didn't want to knock on their lab and fucking ask them if maybe they were the ones who fucking were responsible.
I've been hearing that it's coming from a lab for forever, and now it's just confirmed. Like,
right, it was a conspiracy before. That's what they were talking about on Flagrant. It's like you would be labeled as a conspiracy theorist, so
that's true, but like, how many conspiracies are fucking true?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many conspiracies that are true.
I mean, like, almost every single one, because people find shit out because lots of people are smart and savvy, and you know.
But at the same time, like you can get into a whole like fucking what's his name? What's his name? Alex Jones. Yeah. I almost said Alex Smith.
Like he was right a couple times.
Yeah, but he's right about like a lot of stuff, but it sounds just like so crazy. But you can get into like a hole, like a conspiracy theorist like rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean that's easy to do because things just start to seem to connect when you reach at all. You know what I mean?
Right, like QAnon.
If you want something to connect, it will though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like in your head. Right. That's one thing. That it's just hard. It's hard to differentiate between like.
But like he was right about the fucking Grove, Bohemian Grove. What is that shit about?
Is that Bohemian Grove?
Where it was confirmed that like a bunch of like basically just rich white dudes, like former presidents and just super rich dudes, they basically they just get all dressed up in like robes and shit and go and have weird seances.
Infiltrated, right? And he got like actual footage.
Yeah,
I think I remember him talking about this, right?
Yeah.
And there was like a bonfire or something like that.
Yeah,
and they were doing
and it was supposed
rituals.
to it was supposed to symbolize a sacrifice, but it was really just
a cult. That's
it's just like some weirdo shit.
Yeah, weirdo culty shit.
Right.
Like some it does not.
I don't know.
It's easy to slip into that because like.
Have you? Yeah, it really is because everything.
Some people are so susceptible though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things seem like cults.
Yeah, and it's because some people are like easy to manipulate like that. Right. You know, like Charles Manson.
I mean, that kind of brings us back to MK Ultra.
Yeah, I mean, is the CIA a cult? Am I allowed to say that? I mean, as I was saying
wait,
it,
but do you
I
know
kind
about
of
the connections between
dribbled piss in my pants a little bit.
Teddy Mac?
They're gonna flag this. They're gonna flag this video if we go too deep.
There's a lot of shit they should flag before this.
I mean, this is what they'll flag when we start talking about the CIA.
But like, yeah, I guess the CIA like did Tesla and Charles Manson too, or they. I think they
was in the military or something.
I think the conspiracy theory is that no, he was in and out of jail like ever since he was like 12 or 13, okay. Right?
But they still did.
And he gets out of jail at like 30 something. Finally, after like a serious charge, he was in there for like 5 or 6 years. He gets out of jail, and they give him this probation officer, and the probation officer I think was former CIA or had CIA ties, right? So he gets out of jail and he starts like doing the same type of shit, but he like keeps getting off, right?
Right, so, like his probation officer's letting him off?
Yeah, the probation officer is letting him off. Like he should be back in jail, but he's just like kind of letting him off, right? So the theory is basically that the CIA orchestrated, because you know Charles Manson was giving like all these people like LSD,
right?
And like that's how he like made him did like, the killing.
Maybe even inadvertently like showed him how to do that to people.
And they were experimenting like, can LSD somehow make these people do what we want them to do?
Right.
Type shit.
Because they were doing all kinds of.
Because what they were trying to do, they were basically trying to like have undercover agents be like so undercover that they would never give out their like they would never like rat or anything like
exactly.
That. So they wanted them so undercover that it was almost like some 1984 doublethink shit where they were like
sleeper agents or something.
Yes.
Like they don't even know that they're an agent.
Right. Some of that type of shit, and they thought they could use LSD
to like hypnotize them.
Yeah, almost like hypnotize people. And they used Charles Manson in like kind of like an experiment, like what would happen if we gave these people LSD and like told them to kill people. Like obviously they did it type shit.
I mean, yeah, and some people killed themselves. There's a whole documentary about this guy whose dad fucking killed himself, and he was a CIA operative or what that.
The Wormwood documentary.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was also gonna talk about this documentary called Spycraft, and it's basically about years and years of the CIA, the federal government, creating these different like listening devices and all that jazz, right? Like listening devices in the heel of a boot and whatnot. But there was one time during the Cold War when Russia gifted a wooden emblem to the what's it called when it's like there's an area that's owned by the U.S.
Oh, the embassy?
Yeah, the president of the embassy or whatever of Russia. These Girl Scouts had gifted him this wooden like American eagle wooden statue or whatever, and he put it up in his office because he liked it so much. And there was a fucking listening device in that from Russia. Shit. They found out like later, you know, they were like scanning the room or whatever. Right. And they found out later there was like, and it was after a long time. They found out later.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of like a ridiculous amount. I remember, but it was these Girl Scouts who had given him these Russian Girl Scouts who had given him the gift, and he liked it.
You never know, bro.
Right. That's crazy. He's trying to be nice. Put it in his office too.
Damn. Well, long story short, the fucking conspiracies about Fauci are true. This dude is obviously not to be trusted.
Yeah, I mean,
and we kind of trusted him with our whole like
and people put his word to heart, like these like people who are susceptible.
I knew he was suspicious when at first he was like, "Nah, mask's not gonna do anything," and then he flipped the script and it was like, "Yeah, everyone has to wear a mask." It was
immediately sketch.
Right, that's like you. Like, you flip that quick?
Right, like you can't.
And then he was like, and then he tried to cover it up with, I said that so that the healthcare workers could have all their masks. We were out of shortage. I was like, bro, why don't you just fucking tell us that?
Yeah, in the beginning, and then also it helped him with the whole conspiracy thing of it being like racist to talk about. Like,
oh yeah, it being in a Chinese virus.
Right, like it was a Chinese virus and yada yada yada, but like they do the testing or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Where you try to test the virus
To
make
boost it or
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I forget what it's called too, but yeah, you basically try to boost that shit in order to see what it's gonna do.
A lab that does that in
Right.
Wuhan.
Yeah, like how do you like
Routinely these viruses get out too. They said
to play devil advocate. Why wouldn't you want to research those viruses?
My whole thing is they said that routinely these viruses get
Let out.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And what we should really be worried about is the stuff that isn't man-made. You know what I mean? The shit that comes from nature. That's the shit that's really gonna wipe us out. You know. So
Right.
playing devil's advocate, we need to research our own shit to be able to, I don't know, battle that shit. Battle nature, I guess. It's man versus nature because one day a disease, a plant could overdevelop that would just erase us from the planet. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
Like that or a trillion other things. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, what difference would it make if it was like
Not
natural?
released or natural? It would be more significant. More people would die. It would be like.
But do you think more people would die? Because they were amping
Like the
it
Black
up.
Plague was
Yeah, but they were amping it up in the lab. So if it were to be natural, maybe it wouldn't be as. Maybe it would just kind of just be another flu.
Right.
Like, bruh, I got my vaccine and I felt like I was close to death.
I got the actual coronavirus and I thought I actually felt really shitty.
Yeah, I was caught up in a ball and I was like cold, but like to the touch, I was hot, and I was like,
my back was aching so bad. Like that's one of the symptoms, I guess.
I was like,
and
what
my
the
back
fuck
just
is
hurt.
going on?
It was miserable.
I felt like
miserable.
I felt groggy and shit.
Yeah, I couldn't taste for like a month and a half, 2 months.
I'm so happy I never got corona because that would happen. But I'm also afraid because they say you can still get it if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? Why'd I get this shit then?
Right, and I thought why did they make it seem? Why did they make all this stuff seem like it's the save all be all, but it's
Right,
not.
I thought someone in the NFL got it.
I thought when you got sick from it, you got immune to it. That's what I grew up thinking. Like when you got sick from a virus, you don't get the same virus again.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
but people have caught corona twice, 2-3 times.
And the doctor told me that after 3 months, you no longer have the antibodies to fight it.
Yeah,
so
and then that number keeps going down. At first it was all right. Once you get it, you're good. And then it was all right. It's only 3 to 6 months. And then now I heard recently it was only like 90 days.
Yeah, I'm sure it is less than that. And so it's like, where did that come from? Like,
right.
why are people telling each other that?
Right. And what happened to all the different strains?
As far as coronavirus,
right.
Instead of just like one coronavirus.
Yeah,
I guess because it's always evolving, and they're like flu is a different strain.
I know, but like at one point they were like, "Oh, there's another strain."
Yeah,
we're gonna get we're gonna get re-shut down. Everyone's gonna get sick again.
Yeah,
and here we are. So at some point, it's like it kind of feels like
just a regular flu.
No, it almost kind of feels like scare tactics. Like all this shit is on purpose. Like the funding.
Yeah, because it is just a regular flu. It's like
but I'm saying like the funding on purpose, the leak on purpose, global shutdown,
email and everything.
No, the leak of the virus.
Oh, okay.
Global shutdown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you think it was like planned?
It almost feels like it's planned because of like how.
How else?
No, like kind of just like how things are unfolding. You know what I'm saying?
Or didn't unfold.
Yeah, like I don't know. It just feels to me like everything was planned because like all these emails getting leaked, just like how everything's unfolding.
Convenience, right? It just seems convenient, doesn't it?
Right, like okay, boom, like you have to shut down your coronavirus is out. You have to shut down your business.
Yeah,
like most everyone's gonna lose their job, right? But corporations like Amazon, boom in the pandemic. Walmart, boom in the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
because they restricted their stuff too and made like supply and demand.
exactly.
There was a higher demand, and then they dropped supply.
Right, and then like I don't know. You see, obviously, all these corporate interests and things like that. Like,
Fuck the
I don't know.
corporate identity, bro.
Right, so I'm just kind of like seeing like was all this shit like planned,
Orchestrated?
like or orchestrated.
I see, like that. I almost want to agree
like
with you.
kind of like
I don't like.
I
don't doubt it.
Like the global economy like took a dip. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you get all that shit with like GameStop and all those like where the hedge fund people are like basically hedging that okay, this is gonna dip down.
And when it does, and you buy and you buy and you buy, you want it to crash, right?
So that's
you
what
expect it to.
right. So that's what they want. So why would they not want a global
Pandemic, yeah.
Where
or to kill a bunch of people, I guess.
I mean, maybe not kill a bunch of people, but like maybe their interests are.
Are you talking about the Chinese?
No, I don't know who I'm talking about. I'm just saying maybe
Fauci
some of this
like,
is purposeful.
Our government was funding that lab, right?
Yeah, and if we're so critical to China all the time, why are we funding research in China?
And they're our biggest like vendor, aren't they? Like our biggest import.
Yeah,
we get
exactly.
everything from China if it's not from fucking the U.S. already.
Exactly. So like, I don't know. I feel like we have this beef with China, but at the same time, we're
slipping each other like handies.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like why?
Like here's this funding for this virus.
We're just
like
standing here jerking each other off, like.
Right. I mean, maybe we're in cahoots with the Chinese to fucking do whatever. I don't know what the goal is, but I'm just saying, in light of recent events, in light of this whole the fucking vaccine, like working but not working.
The government seems sketchier than ever.
Yeah. I'm just saying the whole virus seems sketchier than ever. Like like looking back on like the past like year and a half,
and how Fauci had like. Looking back on the last year is so weird because it's like everybody was so scared, like worried to be, and like I guess they should have been, right? Like people did die and all that jazz, but and not to like disrespect any of those families, but like the way we were acting was absurd. We almost got fucking like decimated by like, and all these weird restrictions of like. Of the supply and demand,
right?
Like we're not getting anything overseas,
right? Like most all small businesses like have to shut down, but like
that's a big thing. Maybe that's why like they're like all these like low income businesses just shut like real estate, new businesses to buy,
right? I mean, yeah,
new stuff to like grab up, right? New areas for fucking Wendy's or a new Starbucks. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I mean maybe that's it. Like the
real estate, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
That would be.
I don't know. I just feel like everything seems fishy in light of these emails, and like you see the emails.
It's all about money.
Yeah, now you're like stringing things together. Like if this was funded,
I should have known.
Maybe the leak wasn't on accident. You know.
And I literally cannot believe how like stupid I am, like personally, of just like being all right with like. Not knowing like how everything came out, you know what I mean? Like everything kind of just got like pushed off to the side, like oh, like it's just like it was assumed it was natural, right?
I mean,
it was assumed
at the beginning we were all thinking like we just gotta chill out for 2 weeks and then the shit'll be over.
Yeah,
that was the kind of the message given. I mean, I don't know about you. That was the message kind of given to me, like. Just stay in your house for 2 weeks, and after that, like we can go back to our normal lives.
Right. And
here we are, almost a year later. Niggas is still wearing masks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, fucking
it's just
crazy.
Like, I don't even know how to. It just feels.
And bro, people don't even want jobs because unemployment's paying better now. Like that shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
My job cannot find people.
I don't understand like what happened, and
McDonald's cannot find employees. You know, McDonald's pays $18 an hour now.
Yeah, because they're looking for people.
Right.
To work.
That's fucking crazy.
I don't get it.
Fucking wild. Well, did you want to get into anything else? We're almost at an hour. What do you think?
You got anything else?
I don't think so, bro. I think we went on some high talked about a couple podcasts, talked about the Fauci emails.
Yeah, that shit is
Sounds like a successful Mac and Don show to me.
Does sound like a successful Mac and Don show and some potentially good highlights in there.
Yes, sir. It's been another week with the Mad Friends.
Thanks for tuning in with us, guys. Please feel free to like and subscribe and all that jazz. It really does help us out a lot. If you enjoy our stuff, we really want to do this more consistently and have more people on potentially. So
we'll be back at it again next time.
Next time, here soon.
Yes, sir, ski. It's lit.